This is Intuitive Spirit Manifested 444 coming at you with another video today. The topic today is integration versus segregation. Was it really worth it? I asked that this topic is something that is very interesting to me to bring up because we live in a world at the time now where you know everything is about entrepreneurship and being business owners. And then there's the debates about, with the government shutdown and the gentrification going on, and a lot of people of color are a lot of people that are in these, neighborhoods that they're renting and, are experiencing a lot of changes in the home front in regards to gentrification, in regards to their homes being literally taken from them. And a lot of people, I live in the Bay Area. A lot of people are homeless, are out in the streets. A lot of people want to know, where is the homelessness coming from? When the truth is, gentrification is moving a lot of people from homes to the streets. More than ever, I'm seeing homelessness. More than ever, I'm seeing so many reasons why I am so pro entrepreneurship. I want to push that into, on kids. Be a boss. Don't be a worker. Be a boss. I want to push it onto people who will listen. Like, I really promote entrepreneurship. It's very important. And as African American people, with the civil rights movement, with Dr. King fighting for rights, the question I pose is, if we fought for so much, and, we supposedly got so many rights, why is it that we're still fighting for the same rights that we were fighting for in 1960? I don't think anybody can really answer that question. And, more than anything, on top of that, before integration occurred, there was segregation. There was the separate but equal clause, written that, the schools and everything would be separate pertaining to colored and white people in the United States. And what happened was that the resources were not that good for people of color, as we all know. But this is the thing. We were business owners, and during segregation, African Americans, we were tighter than ever. We worked together because we needed each other. That unity was strong within our communities in those days because we needed each other. In the neighborhood, there was plenty of resources. There was the doctor up the street. There was the musician around the corner. There was the grocery store man up the street. There was a taxi cab service. There was, and the list goes on and on. Black people owned lots and lots and lots of properties, lots of businesses. We can go as far back as Black Wall Street, where it was just a vision of black success at that point over there. They owned there was nearly 200 businesses on, Greenwood Avenue in Tulsa, Oklahoma, before the so-called race riots, that basically bombed all the black businesses and killed a lot of African American people. We had juke joints. We had the Cotton Club in New York, that full of amazing and great entertainers and legends. We had the Negro Leagues, which was founded by Rube Foster. He also founded the Chicago American Giants in 1911. He was a manager and owner, and he was a former player of the team until he finally founded the Negro Leagues in 1920. And it was very successful, the Negro Leagues. It produced a lot of all-stars that, in turn, during integration, went to play for All-American teams. But at the end of the day, the Negro Leagues were very successful. Even the days of BET when it was black owned was very successful, was very populous and very informative for African Americans, social issues. It really, helped. Um, I can go back to, where the Central Park is today. That used to be an African American town. They called it Freedomstown, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, it was called Freedomstown. Um, and, they even had a part with the Underground Railroad. They would help a lot of fugitive slaves escape to that part of New York City at the time. And it was very populous there, and there was a lot of, great, successful people of African American descent in that area until, they kind of basically closed it down and covered it up with Central Park and wrote it off as, mythology. Like it was something that, we don't know about that. They never mentioned that era. They never mentioned the Reconstruction period where African Americans were, you know, deeply into politics. There was a lot of African American representation in the political realm after Reconstruction, which occurred after slavery. We had a lot of jobs because, after 400 years of being a slave, we came out with so many talents. Though we are a talented group of people, after 400 years of sowing from dusk to dawn, cutting cotton and sugar cane, picking cotton and sugar cane, from dusk to dawn, and being a seamstress and working with what is it called? Building things. We had acquired so many talents and so many strengths that we were very successful to the point where we were a threat to the lower class white peoples in their employment field. We were taking jobs. We were taking jobs, and that caused a stir. And that is what caused us to stop, our progress in the Reconstruction period. That's when black clothes came. That's when Jim Crow came. And that's when segregation was invented. So I'm basically saying that given the chance, an African American person is a very strong-minded, very powerful person. We are very powerful people if given the chance. But we didn't ever really have to be given the chance because we showed ourselves plenty of times that we were capable of, showing our worth regardless. Because we were very hardworking people and we had a lot of businesses. And I just have the question as to, someone tell me if why did we want to belong so badly to a group of people who didn't want us to go to school with them? Why? Why didn't we fight for maybe just better resources or to be just treated like basic human beings? Like, why didn't we keep our businesses? Why did we, just leave all of our businesses that we had just to go and work for people, just to be employees? So with that question, and not only did we become employees, but then we started to lose the resources that we had within our community. All the grocery stores and lawyers and doctors and musicians that we had in our community started to fade away to the different communities, by the way, that did not really want them. They still suffered, issues with moving into these new communities because they were not wanted. And with that, we lost a lot of resources within the neighborhoods, So nowadays, we're dealing with no resources in the hood. And there's a lot of money in the hood, but, it's not going to black-owned businesses, because we don't support each other nowadays, or we don't have enough of black businesses, or we don't have enough of them in our neighborhoods. One way or another, those pose issues for us nowadays because of integration, in my opinion. Another thing that I would have to touch on is that integration only caused the crabs in the bucket complex. You see, because during the days of integration, of segregation, we needed each other. So we supported each other. We saw each other as brother and sister. But during the days of integration, when we were moving out and, moving out into different communities, we started to see each other as less of brother and sister and more like a stranger or more like competition. You see, it's going to be that man or me. There's this kind of mentality that we developed, where now we kind of can't really help each other. We can't support each other. We can't come together. We see each other as enemies. Not only are we being slaughtered in the streets by, the police force and et cetera, we're being slaughtered in the streets by our own. But again, that goes back to us seeing each other as not as brother and sister the way we used to, because we're strangers now. You see, we're not in the same communities. We branched out. We want to be, and that's something that I don't understand. The moment that we did that is where we suffered a great loss. Because, who are our kids? Where is the inspiration in the neighborhoods for the children? Where is the money in the neighborhoods going? Where is the resources going? We don't have that anymore. And all the businesses that we owned, we don't own any power anymore. And so it's kind of like we kind of fell into a trap and we didn't know it. We didn't realize it. And that's at least from my perspective. In order to change this mentality, we need to learn to give back to each other. We need to learn that, we need each other. We need to kind of get back to that. We need to be more into our Black-owned businesses. I support it. We need more Black businesses. We need them more into our communities. We need them, all these African Americans that did rise during those days, and they're, because of integration, and they rose to prominent, places in life. I believe that we need to start giving back to our communities, and stop being so, indifferent with each other. Stop, disagreeing with each other. We need to learn how to really have a civilized conversation where we can hear each other out and come to some kind of agreement on things. But there's all kinds of forms of ways that we can help ourselves. I just, had the question of integration versus segregation. Was it really worth it? To me, it just seems like it just added a further division between us. And a further need to push each other down and to, not support each other, to see each other more of a stranger, because we're trying to assimilate into a community that already ruled us out a long time ago. You see, when, your ancestors owned, a group of people, how can you see each other as equals? But, that's pretty much all I had to say. And it's not to take away from, race, because we need to be united. But I do promote Black-owned businesses. And we lost that in integration is all I'm saying. We lost the unity that we once had. We lost the Black love that we once had. And if we come together, we would be such a mighty force. We're so talented. We're so creative. And we got that all from our ancestors. It comes naturally to us because that is who we are. That's our essence. And we don't realize it because we've been divided to be conquered. Intuitive Spirit Manifested 444. Have a great day.